I had a conversation with someone recently that reminded me of a mother and daughter. A few years ago we came to clinic, and it symbolises how two people feel the same kind of pain. One feels the physical element, one might feel the emotional element of it, and the pain connects them, and the pain can keep them connected, and that can be a distressing way of being connected to someone, but actually there's an unconscious comfort in that connection. And I'm just going to give you an example of that, something that illustrates that pattern. So a few years ago I came out of a clinic room, and there was an adult, two adults, mother and daughter. The daughter has like a learning disability, and she was coming for neck pain, and the mother was very concerned at the daughter's pain. And as I came out of the room, the daughter was sat bolt upright, and the mother was holding the daughter's head, sat in the waiting room. Now, I've never seen that ever in 20 odd years as a physio, so I thought there was something peculiar about that setup. She was either very recently injured, and it's just happened in the last day or so, or there's something actually real about the moment that's an emergency, or something's playing out here. It's one or the other. And if it's a real emergency, then physio is not the place to be coming. And if something's playing out so dramatically like that, I'm not too sure physio is the right place to be coming either. So I wasn't sure what to do. I remember the receptionist looking, thinking she wasn't sure, because she was alarmed at the distress displayed by both the people in the waiting room, mother and daughter, in pain. Anyway, they came into the room, and the history was that the daughter has a learning disability, and with this particular condition there is a risk that the part of the neck, the top joints, you don't need to know the exact anatomy, but it can dislocate. It's a vulnerability as part of this syndrome. It's very rare that that plays out and there's a neck fracture or dislocation or anything like that, but it is a known side effect of, or another part of that syndrome that the mother was aware of, and you would be aware of it if you're familiar with a particular syndrome, and physios and people would know about that, and that precludes certain techniques. So the daughter is presenting with pain and spasm in the neck, and the mother is, anytime that happens, she's kind of jumping to it and grabbing the daughter's neck, holding the head, almost the fear that the head's going to fall off. You know, not reality fall off, but she's worried the neck joints are going to dislocate, and the daughter's going to be paralysed, or some other similar fears. Now, when you asked about the history, that's patently not going to happen. She's been fully examined, she has been MRI scanned, she's been seen by doctors, and symptoms have been on for months and months and months, and they were happy. There was nothing serious in the presentation, but the daughter developed neck pain that was consistent and ongoing, that the mother was so concerned about. She'd taken her all around these doctors, and none of the doctors had seen anything that was worthy of treatment beyond symptom relief tablets and rest, and maybe going for some physio or whatever. And that's why she'd come to this point, but almost in desperation, in a frenzy. So the daughter would complain of pain, the mother would jump up and grab the neck. So there's two parts to this. You have to check that there's something we can do for the person with the physical pain, but something we can do for the person with the emotional pain. They're both connected by the pain. One's physical, one's emotional. Both suffering, consciously suffering. Now, what often, or what can happen, is unconsciously they're connected with the pain that's paradoxically but very logically keeps them close together. Whilst the daughter has her pain, whilst the mother can be the fixer of it or the temporary guardian, she'll never need to let her go. And whilst the person in pain still has the pain and gets comfort from the person offering it, she'll never leave her. Now, to get that connection through pain is getting it through suffering. And people don't do this on purpose, but what was easy to recognise was this young girl didn't have, a young adult, but had a learning age that was much younger. It was easy to distinguish because there was no layers of covering it up with conscious intent. It was very, very instinctual. So as you moved the neck in quite small ways, it was ow, 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 it's hurting. And it's almost very obvious to see it was exaggerated whether you were a physio. And as she started to hurt, Mum stood to come and help me with her when there was no help needed. And I asked the mum, what does she do every time the daughter presents with pain? She says, I jump up and hold it, or I hug her, or I cuddle her and she sits with me. I said, okay. And how do you feel? I asked the girl, how do you feel when your mum comforts you? She said, I always feel lots better. My neck's easier when my mum cuddles me. And I could see the mother start to click that she saw the link. And as a parent, you've always got to assume there's a reality. Children don't purposely cry wolf. They're looking for attention. They're looking for attention because they want to be loved. And sometimes they're very demanding there. And you often see in children that when they've used a behaviour that got attention, they'll use it again without the origin of that behaviour being present again. And we have to detach them from that. You know, come pick yourself up, you'll be fine. Come on, crack on, you'll be okay. You can do it, it's okay. And you separate yourself from the recovery so that they can do it on their own and grow. But that sometimes doesn't happen. There's sets of circumstances that appear that both parties are so frightened that they overuse instinctual behaviours, but then they become locked into the pattern. They're locked into the pattern. So here, to explain to the young girl, everything's been checked. I've checked you today and you're absolutely fine. It's all going to be okay. It's totally going to be okay. There's no danger here at all. And explicitly say that she's okay. I had to say to the mother that everything's okay. Everything's been checked by all the doctors and all the scans that you've asked for. They've been done and she's going to be okay. And said to her subtly that if you can deliver the kindness and care and compassion that you've got bucket loads of for her, but in moments when she doesn't expect it and when the pain's not there, what you do is you start to change her behaviour around the pain. And it doesn't mean you don't react to the pain or you don't give care, but you give it a little less rewardingly. And if the daughter starts to get that, she doesn't have her fears about the condition that are real and would trigger a real pain, but then she also gets the care of the mum at the same time in bucket loads, then if her fears drop and in the meantime she's getting care and kindness and love and attention from other behaviours, she'll lose that connection. Or the strength of it will always be connected to our children's pain, always, whether we're halfway around the world, but we won't be jumping up and grabbing their head and saying, I've got you, because that's a painful, energetic way to live that keeps both people suffering. So breaking the unconscious bonds with pain is really challenging, and it's a sensitive conversation because people might think you're suggesting they're doing it on purpose, but none of this is conscious. It's a desire to be connected. It's a basic human need to remain connected. And if at some point in life we've got that, a strong sense of that through pain, there's a chance that that can become the default. And if it does, and it's part of a chronic pain picture, then it's really important that it's understood, so that the people involved almost have to consent to letting go of their role in the drama. So I thought that might be an interesting anecdote, if you like, and it is something that is tricky to unpick, but it's certainly worthwhile unpicking, because it allows both parties to stay connected without pain.